President Putin has apologised to Azerbaijan's president for what he called a tragic incident in Russian airspace involving the Azerbaijan Airlines plane that crashed in Kazakhstan on Christmas Day, killing 38 people. There's no direct admission the plane was struck by a Russian missile. A statement on the Kremlin website says Russian air defences were repelling a drone attack while the plane was attempting to land. Our Russia editor Steve Rosenberg is in Moscow for us, and he unpacked the Kremlin statement.
The wording is very important here in these situations. You have to look at the wording on the Kremlin website and the readout of the conversation. So yes, Vladimir Putin did apologise, but not for downing the plane. He apologised for what the Kremlin calls a tragic incident that took place in Russian airspace. He expressed condolences to the families of the dead. So according to the Kremlin readout, this plane, the Embraer 190, the Azerbaijan Airlines flight, had been trying to land in Grozny in the Russian North Caucasus several times on Christmas Day. At that time, according to the Kremlin, Russian air defences were repelling a Ukrainian drone attack. So you could put two and two together, but that's not clear from the Kremlin readout. So basically, the Kremlin is kind of blaming Ukraine for attacking Grozny airport with drones. That's the way I read it from what the Kremlin has put out in that statement, that description of the conversation between the two presidents.
Steve, President Putin never apologises for anything, though. And a lot of people are going to look at this statement and think, is this as close as we're going to get to an admission that Russia was responsible, given they've said that air defences were operational at the time? But what about the timing of this? Because there was a lot of pressure coming out of Azerbaijan with the people pointing the finger of blame very much at Moscow.
You're absolutely right, Lucy. I mean, ever since this disaster, there's been growing evidence that the plane may well have been hit by a Russian air defense missile. I mean, Azerbaijan Airlines said, I think it was yesterday, that the plane was subjected to external physical and technical interference as well. You had America also yesterday saying there were early indications that the plane may have been hit by a Russian air defense system. So the evidence has been growing by the day. And that leads us to the Kremlin's decision to have this telephone conversation between the two presidents and put out this statement. Of course, we don't know the full details of what was said in that conversation between President Aliyev and President Putin. We can see what the Kremlin readout says. And yeah, this is the closest Russia has come so far to accepting responsibility for the disaster.
And Steve, Russia and Azerbaijan are allies. How important is that relationship to Russia?
Yeah, I think it's an important relationship. I mean, Russia wants to retain influence in the former Soviet space. Azerbaijan has been a key partner, even though Azerbaijan is also now a key partner of Turkey. But clearly, I think the issuing of this statement, that the telephone conversation today between the two presidents, is a sign that the Kremlin does believe it's an important relationship to maintain. Clearly, there's been a lot of anger in Baku after this disaster. And so that leads us to what the Kremlin has said today in this apology, as I say, not for shooting down the plane, but for this incident taking place in Russian airspace. But as we've been saying, this is the closest we've come really to hearing an apology from Russia for what happened on Christmas Day.